Hello, everybody. My name's Ben Robbins from the Lost World of Movie Props, and I am here today with Vas Blackweod. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very, very well indeed. I will firstly say, Ben, sorry, maybe that's my fault, but Vasta is my christened name, but my actual professional name is Vas Blackweod. So I think your as it were, your people will know me as Vas Blackweod.
Vas Blackweod. Also, I'll make sure I change that when I put it up for you.
Yeah, that's great.
Awesome. So thank you for being on the show today. It's wonderful to have you. You happy just to talk about your career a little bit and me to throw some questions your way?
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, why not? Yeah, that's great.
Wonderful. So when you were growing up as a kid, were you a big fan of TV and films, or did you discover that sort of interest a bit later on in life?
Yeah, I was always a great fan of TV, films, watching TV and films, watching movies. My father he used to like watching movies, and he would often, we'd watch the film, watch the, study the subject matter, as it were, whether it was cowboys or Indians or whatever. But most importantly, my father was always into the actors, so he would know the actors, the names of the actors, and give you a little bit of trivia on the actors, John Wayne or whoever these guys were in these Western type style movies or detective shows. And I would always take in that information within the subconscious, not knowing that one day I'd become an actor myself. So I suppose, he was subtly planting a little seed there.
Awesome, wicked. So when did you start to notice you were becoming more interested in becoming an actor and getting involved in TV and films? When did that crossover start to happen from being a fan to wanting to be involved in the business?
Yeah, I suppose it was a gradual transition, as in I did a little bit of messing around drama at primary school. And then when I went into secondary school, I chose drama as one of my O-level subjects. And then I kind of went off in a little bit of a different direction, in the sense that I enjoyed catering, the catering aspects of life. I like cooking and things of that sort. And I wanted to get into sort of like hotel management and things like that. But I always had kind of an underlying love for acting.
Yeah.
And I think what happened was that I was my friends that I grew up with in my teens, they were all sort of arty, very in the art thing, like sort of musicians, art, painters, and my love for the acting kind of came back even more so within that circle. And I started to go to a particular pub theatre called the Old Red Lion in Islington, which is still very, very prolific. It's still a very well-known venue. And there was a lot of actors went there. Back in the day, Ray Winston, Phil Daniels, those ilk of actors. And they would go there. It would be a really good social spot, especially on a Friday. And there was also a theatre there. So you'd get actors that would hang out there. Kathy Burke, loads of actors, Susan Tully, Michelle Tully, and a lot of actors that were in EastEnders, Perry Fenwick, Steve McFadden, this back in the day. So I kind of used to hang out there, and many, many more names than that. I think Daniel Day-Lewis had been in there. People just used to meet there. So it was really from there I then met a producer, who was developing, who just started a theatre company, the Black Theatre Cooperative. He was a white guy, but it's called the Black Theatre Cooperative. And it was actually promoting black theatre, as it were, for all the right reasons. We were talking about the 80s then, late 80s and everything. So it was a good thing. And he got the grant from the Arts Council because it was trying to promote young black actors within topical kind of Afro-Caribbean and African type subject matters. And there was a lot of, and it was also promoting Afro-Caribbean writers and African writers as well, and Asian writers, so ethnic minority writers, which I'd suppose at the time in the 80s, even up to this day now, it's in that diversity. Yeah. So it was like sort of the beginning stage of some good, strong bit of diversity and pushing. It was very good because at that period, I got to meet and mix and work with some amazing people, not, from all different cultural backgrounds, born and bred Londoners, even actresses like Brenda Blethyn.
Nice.
Yeah, it's strange because of Michael Mayhew, her partner then and still now. Michael would do the photo stills for the Black Theatre Cooperative. So through that, I met Brenda, and then Brenda and I see Brenda when I moved on from the Black Theatre Cooperative, because I got my equity card, as it were, with them. And then when I moved on from the Black Theatre Cooperative, as in, you go on, you do other jobs, theatre jobs. Because I started theatre, TV, film. That was the process. And then, I'd bump into Brenda on the way, different jobs, different theatres up in Birmingham Rep, and many, many different actors of that ilk that I met through the Black Theatre Cooperative. So from all different, as I said, all different cultural backgrounds. So it was a really nice starting place. So I would say the Old Red Lion and my circle of sort of artistic type friends just pushed me in that direction. And then by the age of, I got my equity card when I was 18, going 19. In actual fact, famous Bella Freud, who's a fashion designer, she was on the production. She was the costume, and she got her equity card. And then she became famous Bella Freud, even though she was famous then because of her father being Lucian Freud, and grandfather being Sigmund Freud. So, yeah, that was it. Mixed with a nice group of new wannabes coming up. Some have done great things for themselves, and it was a nice era, actually. I look back on it.
Awesome. So you were saying that you came up through theatre. So going onto the stage, was it quite a natural process for you? Did you like being in front of an audience, or was it quite nerve-wracking?
No. It was very natural because, that would have been my my experience as a, say, primary school and secondary school. It was always on the stage, so that was a natural progress. Yeah, it was a very, I felt comfortable. And what happens normally, well, it's even up to this day now, what happens is that, actors, they come out of drama school or they're in drama school, they do their last year's kind of like performances, degree performances, coming out performances, kind of like you have the proms, they showcase their work. And what tends to happen then is that agents, mainstream agents and producers come to see the artists, the students. So it's a place to showcase yourself. So I felt like I was showcasing myself on the Fringe, in Fringe Theatre. You've got the Fringe and you've got the West End. So it was good. It was really good, and it is prolific. Some of the companies I worked for on the Fringe, Paynes Plough, Cheek by Jowl, National Theatre Fringe, the Young Vic, Old Vic. Old Vic came under maybe say like the West End, but it was still, you could still get gigs in there, getting Royal Court Theatre,
Nice,
yeah. So it was like Bush Theatre, and some of the venues, they were big then and they're big now, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I was performing on these and striking my stuff. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, so for a young, obviously coloured actor like yourself, doing those theatres is quite a big thing because they're real historical theatres, even today.
Black actor,
yeah.
Yeah. Because there's different colours, isn't there?
Yeah.
You get white people have got colour. It's got to work out where that colour came from. So black. Yeah. Karen, say that again. Yeah, beyond that.
Obviously, for a black actor like yourself, that's quite a big thing. Being like, especially in the Royal Theatres and that, being on stage. Were you with other obviously black actors with yourself, or were you predominantly with white actors?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, like, with the Black Theatre Cooperative, yeah, because for instance, some of like, for instance, the first production that I did with the Black Theatre Cooperative was called One Rule, and it was about a band, and it's four of us, and we were in a band, four black guys in a band, and there was this, and basically what the story was based on was that there was this one of the band members knew the security guard or sort of personal security guard for a big mega star, like say someone like Drake, and or like Puff Daddy or something, And what was happening is that the guy was performing, this big star was performing, like say Wembley, and the security guard who knew one of the members of our band, he was doing security detail at the guy's property. So he said, you can come and see his property that night, So we go in and see his property, and the security, he's head of security, and we're all in all the posters, all the plaques, everything that's up, the record, the sort of like the statues, the trophies that he's won, Grammys and things like that. And we end up getting hammered in the house, like, yeah, out of control, smoking his weed, all that sort of craziness. And he walks in after the gig, and lights go down, and then it comes back up, and he's in there with us. But he's a bit of a slightly hedonistic in the sense that he's on taking pills and things like that, and he's got like a groupie with him. But his manager was a white guy.
Yeah.
And I think his girlfriend was a white chick as well. So these theatre cooperative plays, they weren't just solely black actors. It was just how we have London society. It's like you're talking to me, you're a white guy interviewing me, a black guy. Do you know what I mean? We're kind of Londoners or English people, and yeah, it was like that. So most of the plays were, and then another play I did with them was called Black Theatre Cooperative, was called Welcome Home Jacko, which was set in a youth club, and the main protagonists in that were like black kids that sort of wayward off the street, hanging out in the youth club. But the social workers, two of them were white, which you get that. And Jacko, he came back from, he was from the area, but he had gone and joined the British Army, and he was fighting in Northern Ireland. And what he's done is that he's nicked a bit of kit, like sort of, he's stolen this, like it's called a Mama Dragon. It's like a flamethrower, what the army use, And he's nicked one of these, and he wants to sort of like use it on a march. He wants to use it against the National Front, some crap like that, yeah. And so it's got a subplot to it. But there was white actors in that as well. So yeah, it was just like, back to the question, yeah, it's just and the CEO, well, sort of the main director of the company and producer was a white guy anyway, and so, and I mean, I grew up multiculturally, Kentish Town, North London, sort of Kentish Town, going up to Hampstead, that sort of area. So most of my friends, which was always multicultural, my mum insisted on that. My parents brought me up that way, and I've always seen scenarios as an actor, as in like, a black guy's always got to be in there. Do you know what I mean? There'll always be a black guy in there. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's not even a token. He's in there. Guy Ritchie used to say that to me. There's always a black fella in it. He's got to be in it. Why not? It's got nothing to do with inclusivity or diversity or anything like that. So I've always felt like there's something there for me. And then what happened was that obviously when I moved on from the Black Theatre Cooperative, which happens, just a process.
Yeah.
The roles that I was going up for was just, again, diverse, so whether you're playing like the black guy in there, whether he does a good thing in the story or does a bad thing, it doesn't matter. It's just you're playing a character. So it's always been like, I'm always up for it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So obviously, coming out of theatre and that, you moved into TV next, and obviously look at some of the TV highlights you've done. You've got Only Fools and Horses, which is a huge British, obviously, TV show even today. So how did you get the audition and role in Only Fools and Horses?
Well, this is another thing, you see, with Only Fools, what happened was that by then I had gone, the transition is very simple, as all actors know to an extent, that I was doing theatre, and what happens is that producers, actors, well-known actors, they come and see you perform in the theatre, like at Riverside Studios. I was doing plays down there, and the likes of, say, Sir Lenny Henry, because he was living in Hammersmith at the time with his wife at the time, Dawn French. They'd just come and see plays because they want to come out and see a play. And I would be in one production which they came to see, and he loved my work. And that's how he got me involved with playing Winston in opposition to Albert Wilkins, because I went up for a casting for that after him seeing me perform there and then. He thought I was really good. Now, sorry, the question was again, it was regarding...
Obviously, you've come out of theatre, you've moved into TV, and you've got the roles obviously coming.
Yeah. So what happened was then, after getting the Lenny Henry thing, that type of thing, what happened was that there was a call. Originally, I was up for a TV series with Channel 4. And then my agent got a call from Ray Butt at the BBC, the producer, Only Fools and Horses. And he wanted to see me for this role. So no problem. But I knew I was up for something else. There's a TV series, but this was just up for this one-off role. And I went down to the BBC at White City at the time, and the old building and television centre. And I got there, and Ray came down. It's a big, imposing building, like 6 floors. Like it was sort of like a half circle. Really interesting shape the old building had. And when he turned up, he just reminded me of Del Boy. And he was a bit like Del Boy, right? He had the flat cap, cigar, and shortish fellow. And he came down the reception. He said, right, and he had a script in his hand. He said, right, hello, Vas, how are you? And I said, he said to me, come with me. So we got in the lift, chit-chatting, took me up to the 4th floor. And because it's in a half circle, we took a long walk, and it was in a half circle, as it were. And he found an office. He said, right, just go in here. Lights, desk, office. No one else is in there. I said, right, here's this script. You read this script, and I'll be back in about 45 minutes. And you tell me what you think. He closed the door and went. So I just opened up the script. Obviously, like yourself, everyone, I used to watch Only Fools and Horses because then it was on the TV, massive audiences, very funny.
Yeah.
I'm reading this script, and it's like, with scripts, it's usually 1 page on a script is 1 minute. So it's a 30-minute script. So it's like about 30 pages, 35 pages. So page a minute. So I'm reading it, like geezer comes into a supermarket, starts blatantly stealing. He purposely wants to get arrested. Del Boy, they come in. They notice the millionth customer. They go and do their normal shopping, minding their own business. Then they get collared and taken up to the manager's office because they're being suspected of stealing. I come in, start blatantly stealing. Then the security guard grabs me. I don't want to go up to the office. I'm crying. Then he shoves me into the office. And when I go into the office, I pull out a gun. And I say, demand to have the safe open. And I'm reading all of this. And then I turn around and Del and Rodney are in there. And I thought, Then the manager says the safe is on a 24-hour lock, and I'm like, we'll have to wait. And I thought, as I'm reading something, so I'm in the manager's office, right, with a gun, with the dodgy security guard, with Rodney and Del, and again, I've got the gun, and we've got to wait. This is really good. So I read, get to the end. Ray Butt comes back in. Right, Vas, what do you think? And I'm thinking, I just said, this is really funny, really good, He said, right, that's good. You're going to do it then, yeah? All right, you'll do it. I was like, what the fuck? What is he talking about? And he said, right, come on, I'll take you back downstairs and I'll give your agent a ring. You can take the script with you. So as we're walking back now around this half circle, all the way around to the lift on the 4th floor to go back down, I'm sort of trying to say to him, You know what? He's all right, friend, right? Busy. In them days, you could smoke in buildings. So he's got the cigar. He's going, oh, that's really good at me. You're going to do it. I said, but listen, Ray, hold on here a minute. I said, I mean, normally castings don't go like that. So I said, listen, Ray, which I shouldn't have said. Well, I didn't mind saying it, but I just thought because he was being so like, whoa. Like, Del Boy. I said to him, yeah. I said, do you know what though, Ray? I'm up for this TV series with Channel 4. And, TV series. So I'm thinking money and actor. Like, the series is going to be more money than this one off, right? But so maybe my agent's still negotiating with them, which they were, and we're just trying to work it out. They're casting of a role. Hey, don't worry about that. Don't worry. He goes, this is much better. You're going to do this. I'll tell your agent. Don't worry about that. And I'm like, oh my God, here we go. We've got it. It goes, I'll see you later on then, Vas. Well done. Boom. And I've gone. I thought, and I phoned up my agent. I said, listen, it's really, really good. But you know what I mean? I want to do this Channel 4 thing. There's more money involved. You know what I mean? I'm thinking like of a young actor coming up. And I wanted some of that because obviously more airtime, more money. So cut a long story short, that Channel 4, because it was a big series, and Channel 4 in those days was just becoming, well, it had just started up, and it was really like a cool place to get a job, Channel 4, and it's all part of a lot how things are now, I suppose. So it was like everyone wanted a gig on Channel 4, and in the end, what happened? They started to mess about. Do you know what I mean? You don't like these productions, because my industry back then was still very much like the Ray Butts of this world, but it was beginning to become like the Suits, the lawyers and the accountants. Yeah. They became the decision makers. Do you understand? Yeah. So yeah. Whereas Ray was the old, we know what we want, we know who we want, so let's get them in, let's have it, and we move on, we crack on. And contracts were different then as well in those days, because I'll tell you that, because I still get repeat fees for that one-off.
Really?
Yeah. And David and Nicholas, you can imagine that, they really, it's amazing, because that's how contracts were then. But then when the Suits moved in, they changed all of that. The directors and the lawyers, they kind of changed it. So you get a one-off. You don't get these repeats anymore. So anyway, what happened in the end, because they were messing about Channel 4, my agent, look, listen, you like that role, don't you? And because Ray was driving them mad, wasn't he? He was driving them mad, and I said, I'll do it. And you know what? It's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. Because when I did it, it was like, when we filmed the OBs, that's the outside broadcast, in the supermarket, we filmed that, right? And the director, wonderful lady, Mandy Fletcher, absolutely brilliant. You Google her, Mandy Fletcher, she's done amazing stuff. And, I didn't even meet her. It was all rage, you know what I mean? I met her on the day at rehearsals. I knew she was and obviously, so we rehearsed for a week, but then we shot the OBs on the 6th. We shot the OBs before. Yeah, we shot the OBs. Did we shoot the OBs? I think we shot the OBs before we started the rehearsals, because I'm just going around nicking stuff and doing this, and the bit where I drink the beer, that was my idea.
Nice.
So, yeah. And then the peas down the front, we put that all in. And then, so what happened on the day, because it was in front of an audience, but because it was all set in one office, managed office, there weren't no Dell living room or the bar or anything like that, just the office. So the audience, packed out audience at the BBC, watched the screen. There was like loads of screens, big screens put up, and they watched the bit in the supermarket. And then when the manager's dragging me into the office and he pushes me into the office, that was then boom, live on the set in front of them.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah, so it was like a theatre performance. And then I pulled a gun out, opened up the safe. So, yeah. It was like that, yeah. So it was very, very... so what I was going to say is that, and apparently when that one came on, because there was no internet as such then, 17 million people watched that on the Saturday.
Wow, that's really big, isn't it?
Huge. It's huge. It's huge. And then, you know, what's happened is, furthermore, what I was planning to say really is that it's just been like UK gold. I mean, it's repeated all the time. All the time. So I've got fans, right, from that character now that weren't even born when it was on, when it was first shown, screened, you know, aired, broadcast. And it's mainly down to the fact that their parents watched it then, and they laughed to death, if you know what I mean. They just kind of loved it so much then. And then it's come back a few times and they caught it again, And then young people have watched it, little Lennox. It's just like, God, it's just gone. And up to this day now. And I just thank Ray Butt. What a man. And I saw David too long ago, David. He was on form, Sir David. Yeah, brilliant.
Because you got loads of screen time on that episode and loads of amazing dialogue, like even referring to the watch all the time is brilliant, and even stealing the cigarettes off you when you're asleep.
Well, yeah. The funny thing with that is that with the way, because John Sullivan again, got, you know, like he wrote them all, and listen, that's like Monty Python. That's like Python-esque. You know what I mean? It's like 40 Towers. Do you know? It's like, it really is. I'm so proud to have done that, because John wrote them all, and you know, he was originally a scene shifter at the BBC. That's what he worked as.
Oh, cool.
And, yeah, and he used to walk around with a notepad because he was writing the notes for Only Fools and Horses. Then he'd go home and type, and they always used to take the mickey out of him. And he's going, no, I'll do it one day. I'll get it done. And, you know, he was such a lovely... Him and Ray Butt together, that was like Rodney and Del. They were like Rodney and Del. And Ray had a vision for what he was writing. And he went to Ray Butt with this idea. And Ray saw it straight away. Very old school. So, yeah, it was like... it is what it was. It was... Yeah, so he wrote them all. And what I was going to say is that in every episode, Del will always, because I remember he used to tell me, every episode, Del will call Rodney a plonker.
Yeah.
And that's when Rodney's gone for the no. And I think he's going for the gun. And he picks up the cigarettes. Del puts it, oh yeah, plonker. Rightfully so. It's class. Absolute class. I don't care.
I was going to say, did you find you a bit in awe actually working with like three of the main characters as well, and obviously hearing such an iconic line as well?
Yeah. I mean, look, listen, what happened when we rehearsed for a week? It's very much like not a theatre performance, but you'd have the rehearsal for a week, then you'd have a dress rehearsal, technical rehearsal, and then the next day the audience come in and they screen it. So there's a little bit of the theatrical sort of process, like theatre process, slightly much in it, but obviously you're doing it in front of cameras. So when we were rehearsing, David and Sir David and Nicholas and Buster, they would come in, you know, like Uncle, they would come in like very much like in their normal clothes. And, you know, in between rehearsing, you know, like when we had little breaks, you'd hear them like Nicholas would be talking about he was going for his pilot license. He was learning to fly. Oh, so yeah, he's an accomplished flyer now, I'm sure. And you know, David would be talking about this and talking about that. Buster would be talking about that. You know, he just bought a house in the countryside and was doing this big landscaping. And they were just like everyday guys, you know. And, you know, it's good. And they would talk to me as well about what I'm doing and everything. We were all, and then we'd get back to work. But what happened, and I knew that obviously, and because they knew I had a lot to do, and they could see that I was getting on with it, and they could see I was getting on with it well, but they weren't saying much, right? And it was actually Nicholas in rehearsals. When I got to that point of the damn elusive shadow, I can't remember how I was saying it. Nicholas just said to me, he said, listen, say that bit like shadow. And I went, yeah, all right, I'm going to do that. And it was him who gave me that line, you know. Well, you know what I mean? Some actors don't do that now because they think, no, that's gonna he's doing all right as it is. That's gonna he's gonna really take the biscuit if he does that. But yeah, Nicholas gave me that. Yeah, so we methodically did what we had to do, the process, and then we did the dress rehearsal because we were rehearsing in Ealing at a church hall. That's where they rehearsed, and then we did the dress rehearsal at White City in the studio on the set. And I remember getting there and I'm like right into it, what I've got to do, blah, blah, blah. They've got me in my costume. And then all of a sudden I could hear them talking, David and Nicholas and Buster. And I couldn't see them, but they were coming round onto the set. And then they appeared and Nicholas had the Parker on, you know, and Sir David had the fat cap. He looked like Ray Buff. The flat cap, the chain, right? The jacket. He had the Wrangler jeans on with the pleats in it. And I just looked and all my lines just went. I was like a member of the public thinking, oh my God, it's Rodney Dillon uncle. I had to get myself together. Yeah, I'll never forget that first time they turned, because they'd gone, they became the characters. And that was it. And I think they knew, because they were very good with me in rehearsals, but they were kind of like jogging. They weren't sprinting, you know. Yeah. They were picking up pace a little bit every now and then, like giving me that nice shadow, like helping me along. But they could see I was getting there as well. But they didn't want to make me feel nervous, you know. But when they came around that corner and came onto set in the costume, I just thought, no, I'm not going to keep it straight. But that moment lasted for about, I'd say, 5 minutes. In my mind, it felt like 5 days. But it was about 5 minutes because it come back, you know, because you'd go, right, okay, so the director would talk, producer would talk, this one talk, and I was back in it. But I kept on looking at them, and then David doing like that, he was doing like in the shoulder roll. Yeah, it was difficult at first, but I just thought, no, play it. That's when I ramped it up. That's when because I was about, I didn't know, I think I was about 65%. But all of a sudden, I found the extra, you know, 35 or 25, whatever it is. Bad with maths, yeah. Yeah, 65, yeah, I found the other, 35. Bosh, I was in there. Boom. Yeah, I was up with them. Because it's written by John Sullivan. So you can't go wrong.
No.
But, you know, shadow. Bloody watch.
So coming out of that episode, did you find obviously life afterwards, like with meeting members of the public, did you find that the fan base really come up behind you? Was it sort of like a bit of a discovery for you?
Yeah, I did. But I did. But it's a crazy business because, you know, like, it's crazy because it doesn't make you a millionaire or like, you know, you're all of a sudden, you know, they want you for Oscars and things like that. So it's crazy business because, you know, and I would say this, it's really interesting having this podcast, having this chat, because I would tell any young actor coming up, you know, because you get some young actors come straight out of drama school and they get a role in something like Bridgerton, you know, and you know, they're obviously their peers and fellow actors and even their teachers from drama school think, wonderful, brilliant, you're on the way. But it's not quite like you're on the way. What you've got to remember is just get in there, do it, just do it, and then move on, you know, and don't worry, because someone will see, even though you'll get the accolade and everything of that sort, because it's a big program, you've got to remember that once it's said and done, everything goes back to normal very quickly. Yeah. But you've got to remember, back then there was no social media. Right. Because can you imagine if there was social media then with the shadow? Do you know what I mean? I like, you know, I would have been on it. I would have been on it like a car bonnet, as they say in the trade. So it would have been like, I would have been basically, I would have been basically just, you know, you'd go on Instagram, you go on this, the amount of followers that it would have been getting. But you see, that's how it is now. Whereas then, which is the good thing really, is that you learn, one, you've got ability, because that will stay with you for the rest of your life, which it has with me. You've got ability. And and then two, what you learn is that you also learn that Rome wasn't built in a day. It's a slow process, and you know you are what you are. I mean, I saw David not too long ago, and it was so nice seeing him. And we hadn't really seen each other. We'd seen each other since. We've seen each other a few times, but you know, he does his thing, I do my thing. He's a very private man. He's a very private man, and because he gets hassled all the time. You know what I mean? It's really different. Yeah. It's very different. And Nicholas, they can't go anywhere. You know what I mean? They're so loved. They're so loved. But he handles it very well. And I saw him not too long ago. And in actual fact, before I did see him, a few years ago, he was interviewed, because he rarely does interviews. And he did an interview, and they asked him in the interview, you know, some of the actors that you worked with in Only Fools and Horses, have you got any you know, like sort of compliments to make about any of the actors that you worked with? And he started to say a few names, and my name was one of them.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah. I actually phoned his agent. My agent phoned his agent and thanked them on my behalf, because he didn't have to do that. And he's really one of those actors that, it's not that he has to do anything for anybody, but you know, the mere fact that he did that was a real compliment. And you know, it's sort of, so it's like, I don't know, it's difficult to say, because I still feel as though there's leverage from it now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Massive. Yeah. Because whereas how things are now with social media, I'm not saying that it's synthetic, but Andy Warhol was right. You know, everyone out there wants their 15-minute, which is fair enough. But you can't, you know, not the milk always, the cream always rises to the top. It's just being part of something like Only Fools and Horses. You know, and I know this from the British public. And one thing about this country, well, Britain, is that when it comes to comedy and it comes to theatre, you know, we know our stuff. You know, even though Hollywood is Hollywood, and they do know their stuff, they still have a lot of respect for British actors. Yeah, and I know I've got funny bones. You know, definitely got funny bones. And then what I'm trying to say is, for young actors, you know, you do a big role, but just take your time. Don't believe the hype. Just take your time, because remember, I will never stop acting, because I can see old boys like older than me, and I can look at that person. I can see a character there. Do you know what I mean? You walk into a bar or something, or you're walking down the street, you see an elderly black guy, and he's making you laugh, or he's not making you laugh. He's a bit off, you know, he's a bit off key or whatever. You just notice something. Do you know? You see it yourself. You see just characters of all different ages, and I think, I could play him. I could play that character. If that character was in the script, I could play that role. And the guy could be in his 80s. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, you're always growing as an actor. So it doesn't matter. Even, I mean, you got something, because also as well, the quality of work and the amount of quality of work that's out there now is a lot more than it was in the 80s. Well, you know, there was a lot then, but you're going to you're more inclined to get a role. It's easier. The doors, there's more doors there for you that are open to get in there, because they've been open from the likes of myself and other actors, black actors, or actors from working class backgrounds or whatever the case may be. And also the way writers go about their business now, you know, if it's a Bridgerton type thing, then fair enough. But then they've also got like your Peaky Blinders, they've got this, they've got that, they've got all different sort of things out there now. So, but it's different because the public, because of social media, the public, the younger public, or that public that's out there worldwide, everyone wants to be involved in your life as an actor or a musician or an artist. But I tend to stay old school to a degree because, you know, you're going to get, I mean, look, I'll be straight with you. You can go on Instagram and you can see a woman who's virtually a prostitute and she's got 250,000 followers or 1 million followers. So what does that say to you? Do you know what I mean? Like, just because she's got a nice ass.
Exactly.
So I'm being honest with you, and I'd say that to children. I don't care, you know. Like, so what does that say? It's not necessary. So I think as it was in the beginning is how it will always be in the end, you know. You've either got it or you haven't got it, you know, because that will get found out.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's like a lot of youngsters nowadays, they don't tend to want to put the effort and the craft in. Like, obviously, older actors like yourself, there's that. You see it with DJs nowadays. There's so much into the pressing buttons and laptop DJing. The old school vinyl DJs scratching and mixing, it's sort of all dying out because they're just not learning the craft anymore.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, that's a really good, that is a good analogy of it because, but then I would say, then when it comes to, say, the music side of it, right? You know, you got your Carl Coxes and this, that, and the other. But I mean, Carl's crossed over into doing, because that was going to happen, and it makes life easier, right, for the DJ, especially playing mega gigs and this, that, and the other. But you find the old school DJs, they've still got their vinyls. Your Fatboy Slim, they still play vinyls, right? Even the Marley boys, because the Marley empire now, you know, is very big, and it's run as a big business now. Everything, they're involved in everything, right? Even AirPods, whatever they're doing, Marley, right? Marley brand. And they recently, in Kingston, Jamaica, they did have a pressing plant for vinyls, and it went quiet for a bit, but they've actually renovated the whole build. It's a big, it's like an airplane hangar, and they're getting back into the pressing.
Nice, you know? Awesome, yeah,
because they know there's a massive market still for it, because we all still like it. So, and that's going on. That is going on. But the technical side of, you know, playing out big concerts. I mean, you and I, being members of the public that might go to a show, like say if it's a DJ, Carl Cox or whatever it is performing, you want the sound quality. You do want the sound quality. It's like if you go to the cinema, you do want, or watching it on TV, you do want it in HD, you do want surround sound, you do want, so the way they shoot that like, for instance, it's like shot with the red camera or whatever they're doing now, because of how it's going to be, how it's going to be edited, how it's going to be scored, how it's going to be sorted, how it's going to be packaged, right? You're going to get in such a way. So all these television devices that they've got now to show a film, right, come into full play, which is fine. I'm fine with that. And also, as what you just mentioned in there, quite rightfully so, Ben, with the DJs and everything. Yeah, it's all fine. But what I think is the problem is with the come up rich quickly type of attitude, you know, like, you mean, I've heard as well, that I'm sure you might have heard it, that certain actors might get casted because, especially with some independent stuff and maybe some mainstream stuff, because they've got 1 million followers or they've got a lot of followers. Now, I'm not going to stick on this point in this podcast, but as I said, you've got prostitutes that have got 1 million followers because they've got a nice ass. So do you know what I mean? So if you're gonna go, if you're gonna cast someone because they've got 1 million followers, right? then that's your lookout.
Yeah.
If you're going to cast them because they're really talented, and you know they're talented, and then that makes sense. But if you're gonna cast them, and it could be in anything,
Yeah.
So my theory behind it, I'd like to feel that any young person listening to this, the world's their oyster, man. Don't just get him. Just believe in yourself. Don't believe in your followers, because you can buy followers as well.
Yeah, I get approached all the time by people saying, "Oh, if pay this money and I'll get your subscriptions up." It's like, no, I just want it to be natural. Like,
do your thing, man. That's right. Because then there's something there to what you've got there within this world, the World Wide Web, and this will always be how it was always. It's like that sincerity, But the false thing, there's a lot of false stuff out there. There's a lot of stuff you can't really believe, and you shouldn't believe it. But believe in your natural talent, and if you get one follower today, that's good. Just one person. Remember, it only takes one person. It takes one person to cause a war.
Yeah. So obviously, looking at some of your film careers, a big highlight for me was Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. I mean, I've watched it countless times with my dad. How was that, getting the role? And when you first read the script for that and meeting Guy Ritchie, did you obviously think that was going to be as big as it became?
Well, again, now Guy had seen me perform. He used to come home from college, and watch me on TV in the Lenny Henry show playing Delbert, and he really liked my dulcet tones. He told me he liked my style, so he considered me then for Rory Breaker. So when I met him, it was really, he had me in mind for the role. He wanted me to play it from what he had seen me do again, you see. So yeah, I met him, and then he just put the camera on me. I was messing around, and then we had a lovely chat. I went away, and then my agent phoned me up and said, yeah, they want you to do it. So I was like, good, let's go for it. And it was all, again, with Guy, I felt like he was a very serious actor, very serious director, sorry. And you find, when I say serious, he's focused. So he knows what he wants. That's the thing with Mandy Fletcher. When I was working with Mandy for Only Fools and Horses, you can see she was focused. And as an actor, you watch them because they're really your third eye. And I could see that. So when I turned up for Guy's work, I think everyone did. When we turned up to shoot on Lock, Stock, everyone was ready.
Nice, yeah.
Ready. And I was ready. So I just got in there and done it, And after each take, because there's a lot of it was from behind the desk and all of that, I'd be like, Guy, how was that? Was that all right? And he was just he'd be sitting behind the monitor somewhere off there, and he was like, fine, it's great, that's brilliant. And I think at one time he said to me, if it's not quite what I want, I'll tell you to do it again. But that was brilliant. But I was hitting it every time, Yeah. So he was a fan. He still is a fan. So yeah, he's very specific. He knows what actors he wants in front of the camera for him. Yeah.
So what was it like filming the scene where you had to spit the alcohol on the gentleman and set him on fire? Were you actually there watching the stunt guy get set on fire on set?
Yeah. I was there for all of that. Yeah. So there was a trick that I did with the way I flicked the matches up in the air, right? And they like that because I flick it up in the air and it strikes, and I catch it in one hand and just set it on him. So we had to just I was there for all of that, and boom. You know what I mean? You drink a high, you gargle a very, say, high, potent rum, spirit, and you spit it on, and you flick a match on them, they'll go up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, it's like throwing terps on someone and lighting them up. They'll go. So, that was just a moment. And very Rory Breaker-esque is the character, what he's like. Because you get Danny John Jules, he's the barman, and he explains what Rory's like, you know. And so that, with the Cockney rhyming slang. So that Danny's a very good friend of mine as well, from Death in Paradise, Danny John Jules, and the cat from Red Dwarf. He's an old friend of mine as well. So it was nice to see Danny explaining Rory Breaker, you know. He's a midget with the afro.
So what was it like, obviously, because the dialogue that you got was, obviously, it was really funny, but there's a lot of real serious. Like when you're in the back of the van getting ready to go for the shootout, like the dialogue for that build-up's brilliant, because then obviously you're about to do something very dramatic. But how was it like filming that scene?
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good. Do you know that scene, right? So we were driving, we're in the back of the van. The van wasn't moving. Guy and all the others were outside shaking it. Yeah. I remember Guy shouting out something like, he's like, fucking hell, don't, pardon my language, he said, the FB, he said, like, they're not going 900 miles an hour, slow it down. The shaking. Yeah, that's just good. And do you know, funnily enough, that scene, when we were shooting that, it was nice. It was nice. You could feel it, you know, you could feel it, because we were in, the boys, you know, because all the bouncers, you know, my boys, were just talking to them, were about, and it was like, yeah, watching it after filming it, you could feel that suspense building up.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Because you can't, but he's a very much like, he's a catch it in the edit. He's a very much catch it in the edit type of director, Guy Ritchie. So, you know, you never really know what exactly is what he's going for, what he's not going for, what he's going for, what he's not going for. So it's one of those, really. And we were lucky. I was just very lucky, fortunate to work with such a man. Because, I mean, you can see from his films beyond Lock, Stock, you know, he's just really gifted, really gifted, really gifted. So basically, I would say, all in all, what I learned with Lock, Stock was that you had to come in prepared, very prepared.
Yeah.
You couldn't wing it. Because he'd turn around, he'd be like, that's not what I want, that's not what I want. And if you've got that, and it keeps on going like that, then you've got a little bit of a problem.
Yeah. So obviously, when you first saw Lock, Stock, were you aware of the soundtrack as well? Because Lock, Stock had an awesome soundtrack to it, which brought a load of old music back out into the charts again.
Yeah, that's right. And have you noticed that sometimes you hear some of the tracks, and it's not even nothing to do with Lock, Stock, but you hear the track and you just think Lock, Stock.
Yeah.
You know, the two they've harmonized each other, haven't they? Yeah, especially like the James Brown one. You know, yeah, extraordinary. Well, I wasn't. Yes, when I saw the whole film like packaged, I was like, wow. Yeah, I said to Guy, when we went and watched a little private screening in Leicester Square, and I said to him, that Vinny's really good in it. He's my favourite character. And Guy said to me, he says, you're not too bad yourself, Vas. And I was like, yeah, I really like Vinny in it, you know?
Yeah,
Vinny was good. He was really good in that film, Vinny Jones. Proper, you know? Or they all were, you know, Lenny McLean. It's brilliant. It's a great film. Good film.
So did you have quite a lot of banter with the lads, obviously off screen and on screen? Was there a lot of bloopers, or were you kept very serious?
Yeah. That's right. Because it's a good question. Because you know, a lot of people think we were all like having a party on that. No, we weren't. Everyone was like, because the way Guy works, you could not do that. No. You couldn't. Yeah. And there's no time for that. No time, especially with that one. That was his first one. There's no time for that. And even now, he you know, he'll have a little laugh. They'll do little things, have a little laugh on the set, because obviously it's a bigger budget. There is a little bit more time, but everyone's there to do a job.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't really have it any other way, because you just want to do the job, you know. And no, we were all very much like very focused on what we were doing. Everyone was, and he's, you know, you can't do that with him. No, you get on a set and there's too much of that going on. You know, you've got to be careful. You either, as an actor, you have to keep yourself away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not worth it. You can't go to work and just be like laughing and I mean, you know, you and I could be just talking, shooting the breeze, and then we better start the interview, and it'd be like, yeah, 1.5 hours later, you have to do the interview. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And
yeah, of course. No, I get that fully.
It doesn't work like that. It's just, you know, you got to keep it. You got to do the work and put it in, and yeah, because there's a process, isn't there, in everything.
Yeah, because obviously, I was going to say, obviously, like Lock, Stock, it really brought back the British film side as well. It really helped sort of bring back British acting and British movies being produced because of that.
Yeah, a hell of a lot. And you know what? And up to this day now, and the thing is that because they're still trying to find another one like it, or something that's going to, you know, we want to do something that's going to wake up the cinema goer like Lock, Stock did. But this is the thing. We never knew that then. But we all put the work in. Because you never know. That's why I'm saying it's like you never know. You never know. So you might as well take yourself seriously.
Yeah, of course, definitely.
Yeah, and take the other people that are working with you seriously as well. A lot of people, I think, might, you know, or in many situations, generally speaking in life, I think people take things for granted, you know, and maybe not look for the easy way out, but you know, think that, like, you know, I'm here because I should be here. No one's there because they should be there. You know, you're there because you've worked hard to be there. So continue to work hard and take yourself seriously, and don't believe the hype, and get into it. And you never know. You never know. You might take it to another level because you're looking to take things to another level. Don't take things for granted. And I think that was the whole thing with Lock, Stock. And you know, they're making productions like that now as well, all the time. They're the ones that kind of they get the attention. They grab the public's attention because people are taking themselves very seriously. Not you know, why not? You're on set for a certain amount of hours, you know, and you've got the script, you've had the script, you've had time to learn it, you know. We all work differently as actors, but ultimately speaking, you're there to help the other actor with that scene. You're not there to be selfish and, you know, give a little bit of rehearsal, and then you come the actual performance, you kind of take away a little bit, or you're playing games, you know. You just got to try and share the moment. And if you can't quite feel the moment and you don't think it's coming over too well, it's not necessarily what the others are doing. It's more or less how you've got to modify what you're doing within the others. And then it will all come together, because it's not a selfish thing. You shouldn't be selfish in our industry. You've really got to just try and, because as I said, there's like, I've done things like then Nicholas gave me those lines, Shadow, and up to this day now, that is the one, Shadow. It's like another actor. He saw that, but he wasn't, if he was selfish, he wouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, I completely get that, because obviously worked in the wrestling business. There's 3 of us in a match. There's the 2 wrestlers and the referee. All 3 of us come together to make the match obviously go over to the audience. When someone's lacking, it doesn't sort of like tell the story like you want to tell it. No?
Yeah, that's right. And then sometimes they could save the best for the moment, you know. I mean, you're all looking, no, we didn't quite do it that's not quite the way. And you get some, I'm sure you get wrestlers that have that thing, you know, where they're known for it, but then you're looking and you're thinking, it would be nice if you include us as well, because if we weren't here, you wouldn't have anyone to chuck around or to make the story, or you wouldn't be able to play the baddie because you've got the goodie there, you know, or the ref. So yeah, listen, it's, you know, it's funny because it's like life, isn't it? Life is all about teamwork, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
You walk around being a real, you know, shit and a really horrible person, no one's going to want to play with you, are they? No one's going to want to be part of that, because who needs it? Life's too short. Yeah. There's a lot of work involved in. There's work, not work, but it's that harmony you're looking for in anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. No island.
It's all been on the same wavelength together, and obviously coming up together.
Definitely. And you know what? That's the thing, because if you have some form of if you can relatively understand what you just said there in the sense of coming together, then that's a great outlook for life. You know, sometimes, because it's like sometimes you think you're right, but then someone will tell you, no, you know, let's do it like this. And rather than think your way's the way, it's sometimes good to go another way. And then you learn. And then you see that it kind of, you know, it's like energy, like force of energy. It's like, this is the way I'm going to do it. It's the way I'm going to do it. But if you listen to what that other person's saying, in a way, they bring that moment in, and it's kind of like you can contain yourself a little bit rather than think, it's me all the time. And then you see another way of it's done, and then you come into it. So it's nice. It's nice, yeah. So I think that's the beauty of life.
Did you feel that way on Mean Machine? Because you'd worked with a lot of the actors before, and you all come back together again, so you were already on that wavelength together. And because of the success of Lock, Stock, did that drive you guys to really push on Mean Machine more?
Yeah. Because I mean, with Mean Machine, that was like a Vinnie Jones vehicle.
Yeah.
Since that, obviously, his whole background, football, his success in Lock, Stock, he proved that he could act, and the way the story was set out, because it's taken from the is it Longest Yard, Burt Reynolds,
1974 one or something.
Classic. It's a classic. I mean, your dad would have known that one. It was a brilliant film, and so that's what they were replicating, and they went about it really well, because we all came together. A lot of the boys from Lock, Stock, Jason Statham, they all came together. Jason was actually doing something. He was doing a film. His Hollywood career was just getting off, and he actually flew in for that. You know, because he wanted to be. Nice. Yeah. He wanted to play the monk and everything. So it was lovely, involved in everything. And again, with Vinny's, because Vinny's what you call he's a very committed, very serious actor. You know, in the sense that he'll have a laugh, but he's very committed, and he's up for learning. So this was a beginning, middle, and end project for him. It's the lead character. So he as confident as he is, he wants to learn. So if you're like a seasoned actor, which a lot of us were, and you do your input, take yourself seriously and get in there, Vin learns as well. So it was one of those, and every day you could see he was showing his appreciation to what he was getting from the other actors, and he would show his appreciation, whether it be like buy everyone dinner at the ending of the day, you know, at the hotel or whatever the case was. He was always giving, and you knew that he was happy, very happy. And if he had any questions about the moments and scenes and everything, he would openly discuss them, you know, with us. And great. And I saw Vin as well, actually, not too long ago, name dropping again, but they're my friends, and we just saw each other not too long ago. We just gave each other a big hug. And that's to do with, because he's, you know, Pink Elephant never forgets. He's, you know, he always remembers, Vin. And he'll have a laugh with you. He'll have a laugh with you, but he's all about the work and the business, because nothing ever comes like that. There's always a process behind it. Even when he was playing the baddie at Wimbledon, there was a process behind it. They had to train, they had to this, they had to do that. He weren't just lying in bed all day long and come Saturday, just get out and go on the pitch and be horrible to people. No, he had to do what a footballer does, is train, and, you know, bit of savoir-faire, a bit of a laugh with it, but they had to train. You have to do the press-ups, you have to do the sit-ups, you have to lift weights, you have to run a bit, you have to do this, you have to do that. And we were doing a lot of that on Mean Machine, because he brought that into it. And if he could see that, because remember, there was some that could play football and some that couldn't, especially like the Danny Dyer character. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Danny didn't have to do as much training because we had Wally Downs. Wally Downs is an old Wimbledon associate of Vinny's, and Wally's like a character, real character, a bit like a Ray Buck character, and great sense of humour, but a great trainer. So it was like being in football. It was like being, and I was the manager, so I didn't have to really train. But I had to be the manager. So, the manager gets shit thrown at them, and the manager gets the it's really good. Yeah, Mean Machine was good. Yeah, we had a good one. It's a good film, Mean Machine, because it's a real feel-good film. It's got some good points in it, like, you think you're larger than life, and you're sort of the big I am, and then all of a sudden you get pulled down. Addiction in any aspect of life isn't very good, but obviously you can see when he goes off the rails, and drink, driving, and all of that, and just excess, which again is very prevalent in life, now. And then he ends up in prison, and everyone in prison knows him. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously he's iconic from the football field. It's a great story. You could watch it now. Myself. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and youngsters can watch it. A youngster who doesn't even know the actors or anything like that could watch that film, but knows football.
Yeah.
A 14-year-old could watch that and enjoy it. It's all right. And it's a feel good, and Danny scores.
You don't see it coming, do you?
It's good, isn't it? And they beat the guards who were really horrible. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a good film. Yeah, it's a nice one. Matthew Vaughn produced that. Well done, Matt. Yeah, it was under Scar, Matt and Guy's production company at the time, but it was more. It was Matthew. It was more of a Matthew. Matthew took charge of it, and he did really well. And then he went on to become a great director, Matthew Vaughn. So he was just breaking into that then. So it was really good production to be a part of.
Obviously, in Mean Machine, you and Vinny have it's a real dramatic scene where you're getting beaten up by the guards.
Yeah.
He comes to your rescue, and I feel it really highlighted the racism within prisons as well, especially with obviously today with Black Lives Matter and what's going on. It was kind of more. It was real strong, that scene. It come across real serious, but it made everyone fall in love with your character even more, and it really gets you behind Vinny more because it shows his loyalties. Even though he's in prison, he's come down. It was a brilliant scene, brilliant.
Yeah, that's really well said. You know what? The funny thing is, because even though I'm out here now for my mum, I remember my mum seeing that for the first time, and she said, "That Vinny is a really good man. He's serious." He said, "And that guard is a wicked man." And I was going, "Oh, Mum, we're only acting." But she said, No, Vinny's really good. He's really good. And it's true, because he kind of like, and it is, because that was all part of the whole rehabilitation thing for him. And I think within the film, and us as the members of the public watching the film, we're going into that world. You could see that he's actually Daniel, he's actually Mina, and he's actually changing for the better. Yeah. Because he loved everyone. He didn't, but I think that was in him from the beginning. But obviously he went over the rails, addiction. He got, just lost it. Do you know what I mean? And he was just coming back to himself. Yeah, it's a good scene, that. Really good scene. Yeah. Go on, Vin.
So obviously, looking at your career overall so far, what would you say would be one of the biggest highlights for you? Something where you look back and think, I did that and I'm proud of it no matter what anyone says.
Well, all of my work, I feel very privileged and to have been cast in all of my work. And then I feel like obviously there's special, like, when I worked with Sir Lenny Henry and played Winston in his Delbert Wilkins, when I worked with Sir David Jason, when I played Rory Breaker in Guy Ritchie's first ever film, you don't know, but when you look back, you say, yeah, those are iconic. Matthew Vaughn's Mean Machine, being involved. And Vinny's first like lead, lead, beginning, middle, and end character in the film. Yeah, and it's all like, I think because it's an ongoing process, and like even now, as I sit here now, that's what I do for a living. And there's like you kind of you finish chapters, and then you go on to the next chapter, and this is all to do with life experience. Because I think when I played Winston, I wasn't a father. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you come fatherhood, and this, that, and the other things happen in life, and you progress in life, and those things that you progress in life with become, as it were, added layers to your, say, ability as an actor to replicate, to dramatize or dramatize fictional type of moments in life, and that's through experience, So yeah, so it's like kind of just, I think they all come into hand when it comes to me looking at, say, my whole life development process, So it's a replication of, I can look in the mirror and say to myself, I'm really proud of all those characters, because I could turn around and say, okay, this one was the best, this one was the best, that one was great for comedy, that one was great for sort of being dramatic, that stage performance was very good for emotion, or this, that, and the other. But someone might turn around and say to me, but Vas, what about that one? And I thought, oh yeah, I forgot that one, because, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was a good director behind that, there was a great script writer in that, there was a good producer in that. So yeah, I'd say all of them. And and going forward, again, that's my attitude towards it. Even if it's like doing a podcast, like this, there's a way of being, and you try and be as sincere as possible. So you just like, it's like, not that you take yourself seriously, but because I mean, me, I can, I love a laugh. I like to laugh at life rather than say, take it too seriously. But it's nice to take what other people are doing seriously as well, and respect what the other people are doing, because there's an effort in what you're doing right now, and you've put something into it. So why would I come in like 55%? Do you know what I mean? So you finish the interview and think, oh fuck, that was really good. That's one as of my life gone. Do you know? So they would go, what's wrong? Oh, I just had that thing with Vas. He's like, well, what was he like? And you know what? Yeah, no. But you. I mean, I'm not going to say you get that, but I'm sure you might, and you might not. But all you want, I think, from the energy I'm getting is like, you give me room to talk, give me room to answer those questions, give me room to air my views, and I think that just helps what you're doing. And this is your show, so that's what you've done. So it's great, It's like I could give you one-line answers, sentence answers, like it's all quiet again. After a while, you sort of get me. It's like, there we go. Do you know what I mean? That's not fair. No. So, I mean, and I'm getting something out of it, because the questions are enabling me to think about certain things which I hadn't thought about, which is good.
So I found you through social media and through friends and that. So you happy for people like I did to book you for podcasts and Comic-Cons? Because you recently did London Film and Comic-Con, and you did the Only Fools and Horses reunion up north a little bit. So you have people to contact you like I've done to book you for things?
Yeah. Come on. Is it what's my Instagram? Is it at Vas Blackweod? Oh,
Vas Blackweod at Instagram.
Official. Vas Blackweod official, yeah. I haven't got a blue tick yet, because I'm not recognised by Instagram yet. But 43 years an actor, Instagram. Still rocking. And I've got some big things coming on, Twitter, Vas Blackweod. Yeah, man. Oh, my website,
Your website as well, yeah.
Yeah, www.vastaman.com, vastaman.com. Can contact me there as well. It's all good. And I've got, you know, like, as I said, going forward, this year's a great year because I've got some good stuff coming out. One film in particular called Some Other Hood, Adam Deacon's new film. When he did another, yeah, man. Ed Sheeran, Jennifer Saunders, Danny Soprano. There's like loads of great actors in it. Mega Man. There's like what's his name? Stormzy's got a bit of involvement in there. There's like some good actors in it, man.
And obviously on your website as well, you sell merch, I've noticed.
Yeah, there's a little bit of merch. Listen, you know what it is, right? They're all things from like, you know, people say to me, they'll say, oh, you got something from Lockstock, you got something from Rory, do like memo, that I put the afro on and say something. And it's just people have done that to me, not me done that to me. I haven't woken up in the morning, I'm going to do this. You know, they love that. They seek him here, they seek him there. I'll kill you, you know? So I've just done a t-shirt, I'll kill you, and on the back, Rory Breaker. They seek him here, they seek him there, you know, and all of that. Lennox Gilby on the back. Things like that. It's just little, listen, it's just like a little appreciation thing. Yeah. But yeah, you did mention the Comic Con. I'm always up for those. And also the Only Fools and Horses Society thing. That was brilliant because I got to meet David again. And as I said, he doesn't normally do those. And he was there and he was on form, man. He was so funny. It was really good fun. Really good. He was so happy to see everyone and he was on a roll. It was wonderful. And I can still see him now. And the way it was all genuine, proper stuff. Yeah. I don't know why he doesn't do more. I don't know why he doesn't. I think he doesn't. Well, he doesn't have to. But I know he's been talking about, I'm talking about David now. I know he's been looking for something to play. I think he has been. But, you know, I think actors like David Jason, it's got to be specific, I think. Yeah.
What's it like when you work at the Comic Cons, meeting all the fans? Like you said that you've met fans of all ages. Like, what's it like, the interactions?
Brilliant. Every single one of them, brilliant. I had a laugh. We did back to back. We did a few the other day, and brilliant. Really, really nice people. Honestly, all characters. The Only Fools and Horses ones. They'd come with me, like, you know, the Robin Reliant.
Yeah.
They'd come with like the doors because they got them. They sort of sell the doors of the Robin Reliant, and they want all the autographs on it. And it's funny, they turn up metal proper door, Robin Yellow. You sign that bit of that, and it's got all the other actors' signatures on it. Some wanted to say the line, you know, they seek him here, they seek him there. Those policemen seeking it everywhere. Is he in heaven or is he in hell? Damn elusive, shut that up. And it's all of that. And it's just brilliant. Long may it live. Long may it reign. And it will. Because that has got a fan base, man.
Yeah.
Ooh, proper. You know, because it wasn't in politically correct, if you know what I mean. It's just like a couple of duckers and diamonds. Nelson Mandela tower block, wasn't it? Nelson Mandela in Peckham. Yeah. And just like a ducker and a diver. Do you know what I mean? And who doesn't know them? Really proper, really good. And they always started off really slow. And they end up somewhere else. Everyone knows Adele Boy, you know that?
Yeah, definitely.
Everyone knows Adele Boy, man. Come on. Right up to this day now, there will always be Adele Boy, wherever you go in the world. Yeah. And when you see them, you know anything can happen here. This is you're in a cartoon. You're in a certain situation, the old boy's always there. Especially when you go away, it doesn't matter where you are. Because I suppose when you're at home or in your local area, you try and avoid them, don't you, the old boys? But they're always there. They're always there. And you know what? Bless them. They mean well. They mean well. Yeah, they do mean well. Because Del Boy, he's not out to mug people off.
No.
No. It's when they come at him, though, he's always got an idea of how to get them back. And it never works out because, life isn't like that. No.
Awesome. Well, Vas, I'm afraid it's come to the end of the podcast, I'm afraid.
Yes, brilliant.
I just want to say a big thank you so much for being on today. And obviously, I know it's early there sort of thing and getting up early to do this. I really appreciate your time. It's been amazing, honestly. It's been so fantastic talking to you.
Listen, it's been, what's the word for it? As Vinny would say, it's been emotional. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. And best of luck with everything. And I'll keep an eye. I noticed you on, I think it was Instagram. Yeah. And I was going to ask you, but you did mention at the beginning, he's you in the wrestling and everything. So I was thinking, is this him? Because I thought you were someone else at first. But then I put two and two together after I saw you on the wrestling, and then you mentioned that. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Now, thank you very much. Thank you very much for showing interest in my career, and I hope that a lot of people get to watch this and likewise get to know where I am at and watch out for the lights of some motherhood, and keep it moving, as they say.
Yeah, of course. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on, and it's been a pleasure, mate.
Thank you. Take care of yourself. Have a lovely Sunday. God bless. Bye-bye.
Have a good Sunday. I'll see you later.
Bye-bye. Take care. Bye.